The Quran is a book which emphasizes deed rather than idea. Your creation and resurrection, says the Quran, are like the creation and resurrection of a single soul. I have tried to meet, even though partially, this urgent demand by attempting to reconstruct Muslim religious philosophy. Here are the 7 contents in this book. Number 1, knowledge and religious experience. Number 2, the philosophical test of the revelation of religious experience. Number 3, the conception of God and the meaning of prayer. Number 4, the human ego, his freedom and immortality. Number 5, the spirit of Muslim culture. Number 6, the principle of movement in the structure of Islam. Number 7, is religion possible? Number 1, knowledge and religious experience. Here are some points which I marked in this book. Religion, in its more advanced forms, rises higher than poetry. It moves from individual to society. It cannot be denied that faith is more than mere feelings. The guidance of man's inner and outer life is the essential aim of religion. Religion is not a departmental affair. It is neither mere thought, nor mere feeling, nor mere action. It is an expression of the whole man. Ghazali based religion on philosophical skepticism, a rather unsafe basis for religion, and not wholly justified by the spirit of the Quran. Ghazali's chief opponent Ibn Rushd, who defended Greek philosophy against the rebels, was led through Aristotle to what is known as the doctrine of immortality of active intellect, a doctrine which once wielded enormous influence on the intellectual life of France and Italy, but which, to my mind, is entirely opposed to view that the Quran takes of the value and destiny of the human ego. Thus, Ibn Rushd lost sight of a great and fruitful idea in Islam and unwittingly helped the growth of that philosophy of life which obscures man's vision of himself, his God and his world. The more constructive among the Ash'arites thinkers were no doubt on the right path and anticipated some of the more modern forms of idealism. Yet on the whole, the object of the Ash'arite movement was simply to defend orthodox opinion with the weapon of Greek dialect. It cannot, however, be denied that Ghazali's mission was almost apostle-like that of Kant in Germany of the 18th century. During the last 500 years, religious thoughts in Islam has been practically stationary. There was a time when European thought received inspiration from the world of Islam. The most remarkable phenomena of modern history, however, is the enormous rapidity with which the world of Islam is spiritually moving towards the West. There is nothing wrong in the movement for European culture on its intellectual side, is only a further development of some of the most important phases of culture of Islam. The theory of Einstein has brought a new vision of the universe and suggests new ways of looking at the problem common to both religion and philosophy. In these lectures, I propose to undertake a philosophical discussions of some of the basic ideas of Islam in the hope that this may at least be helpful towards a proper understanding of the meaning of Islam as a message to humanity. The main purpose of the Quran is to awaken in man the higher consciousness of his manifold relations with God and the universe. The great point in Christianity is the search for an independent content for spiritual life, which accordingly through the insight of its founder could be elevated not by the forces of a world external to the soul of a man, but by the revelation of a new world within its soul. Islam fully agrees with this insight. According to the Quran, we have not created the heavens and the earth and whatever is between them in sport. We have not created them but for a serious end, but the greater part of them understand is it not. Verily, in the creation of the heavens and of the earth, and in the succession of the night and of the day are signs for men of understanding, who standing and sitting and reclining bear God in mind, and reflect on the creation of the heavens and the earth, and say, O our Lord, Thou hast not created this in vain. 3-1. Again, this universe is so constituted that it is capable of extension. Again in the quote, He means God adds to His creation what He wills. 35-1. The movements of day and night is regarded by the Quran as one of the greatest signs of God. God caused the day and night to take their turn. Verily, in this is teaching for men of insight. 24-44. This is why the Prophet said, Do not vilify time, for time is God. When attracted by the forces around him, man has the power to shape and direct them. Man has the capacity to build a much faster world in the depths of his own inner being, wherein he discovers sources of infinite joy and inspiration. And in this process of progressive change, God becomes a co-worker with him, provided man takes the initiative. Quote, Verily, God will not change the condition of man till they change what is in themselves. Close quote. 13-12. If man does not take the initiative, if he does not evolve the inner richness of his being, if he ceases to feel the inward push of advancing life, then the spirit within him hardens into stone, and he is reduced to the level of dead matter. When thy Lord said to the angels, Verily, I am about to place one in my stead on earth, they said, Wilt thou place there one who will do ill and shed blood? When we celebrate thy praise and extol thy holiness? God said, Verily, I know what ye know not. And he taught Adam the names of all things, and then set them before the angels and said, Tell me the names of these, if ye are endowed with wisdom. They said, Praise be to thee. We have no knowledge but what thou hast given us to know. Thou art the knowing, the wise. He said, O Adam, inform them of the names. And when he had informed them of the names, God said, Did I not say to you that I know the hidden things of the heavens and of the earth, and that I know what ye bring to light and what ye hide? 2-28-31. The point of these verses is that man is giving with the faculty of naming things, that is to say, forming concepts of them and forming concepts of them in capturing them. Thus, the character of man's knowledge is conceptual, and it is with the weapon of this conceptual knowledge that man approaches the observable aspect of reality. The immediate purpose of the Quran in this reflective observation of nature is to awaken in man the consciousness of that of which nature is regarded a symbol. Quran ultimately made them the founders of modern science. According to the Quran, the universe has a serious end. Here are the main characteristics of mystic experience. Number 1. All experience is immediate. It simply means that we know God just as we know other objects. God is not a mathematical entity or a system of concepts mutually related to one another. Number 2. The second point is the unanalyzable wholeness of mystic experience. Third, the mystic state is a movement of intimate association with a unique other self, transcending and momentarily suppressing the private personality of the subject of experience. Number 4, the quality of mystic experience is to be directly experienced. It is obvious that it cannot be communicated. Mystic states are more like feelings than thoughts. Fifth, the mystic state soon fades away, though it leaves a deep sense of authority after it passed away. The two forms of consciousness, sexual and religious, are often hostile, or at any rate completely different to each other in point of their character, their aim, and the kind of conduct they generate. The truth is that in a state of religious passion we know a factual reality in some sense outside the narrow circuit of our personality. Knowledge and experience. As Muslims, generally we believe that knowledge comes through two kinds of experience: normal experience and religious experience. Modern Western knowledge is based on normal experience only and considered religious experience as a private affair of an individual that cannot be communicated to others truthfully, and so it cannot be considered as a source of knowledge. Religious experience is the result of praying prescribed by a religion. Religion experience helps us to see the reality in wholeness through intuition. Anyone can have normal experience, but only a few can have religious experience. Daily prayer. The daily prayer provides us with an opportunity not to become mechanized and become slave to our worldly affairs, and to remind us of our spiritual self, and thus give us more freedom to be more creative for improving our environment and advance the cause of humanity for seeking nearness to God. With Einstein, space is real, but relative to the observer. He rejects the Newtonian concept of an absolute space.